I know.
Okay. Welcome back to the From the Fabricator podcast. I'm your host, Max Perlstein. Thank you so much for joining me once again through this journey in our world, the glass and glazing world. I really appreciate that. Today, in this episode, two really, I think, unique guests. Karolina Styk from Press Glass. Really interesting stories there. And then Corey Thompson from Pellucere. And he's a star. He's an interesting guy as well, and so I just enjoyed chopping it up with both of them. I think you'll enjoy it as well. So that is something to see here coming up. Before I start, though, a couple things. One, a big thank you to the sponsor of this episode, FHC. While others raise prices and scale back, FHC is investing forward. As vendor memos roll out with sweeping increases in vague market conditions, FHC is choosing a different path, expanding product lines, opening new service centers, and growing support and production teams. Instead of passing the pressure downstream, FHC is absorbing as much as possible, staying committed to competitive pricing, innovative products, and top-tier service. FHC isn't just here to sell the industry. They're here to support it, grow it, with it, and lead it forward. FHC is committed to standing with their customers. FHC-USA.com. Really appreciate their support of this episode and of the podcast for a while now. Before we go to the interview, just a heads up, Glass Build America registration is open. Please go get signed up. You can use the code MAXPOD, MAXPOD 25, MAXPOD 25 for free entry to the show floor. It's going to be a good one. You'll hear more and more about that as we get closer, but that's November in Orlando. But go ahead, get registered now. All right, let's get this thing rolling. Karolina first, then Corey, and then I'll be back on the other side with some TV notes. Here we go. Okay. Kicking things off for this month, I'm thrilled to have Karolina Styk from Press Glass North America. You can find them online at www.pressglass.us. Has their website. They do some amazing things, and Karolina is an amazing person. Thank you so much for doing the podcast, Karolina.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm super happy to be here.
Well, I'm honored to have you here, and I said to you right before we started recording, I have some questions here that I legitimately can't wait to hear the answer for, because you're a fascinating person to me. And let's just start with your path. People can maybe pick up from the accent. You're not from Texas, so you're definitely not from the U.S. So let's talk about your path, where you were born, grew up, and then made it to the United States.
I'm from Poland. I grew up in a small town. I studied management at the university, and I really liked that program because it was a mix of different classes. And I could use all of that knowledge during my time at the student organization called ISEC, where we run different projects, cultural exchange programs. We host internships for foreign students. So it was the time when I really thought about living abroad at some time. But the time passed and I got my first job at call center. So that was school of life. I quickly moved into training role and I enjoyed that part. I was onboarding new employees, but I was also doing trainings on different sales skills. And after graduation, I worked as executive assistant for the law firm and debt collection firm. So totally different industry.
Definitely.
But I was wearing a lot of different hats. So I was recruiting, I was doing supply chain, office admin. I was helping also opening new branch in different cities. So really cool experience. And it was when HR, especially the talent acquisition part and building employer brand, really caught my attention. And this is what I wanted to explore more.
Okay.
So this is the time when I joined Press Glass in Poland. I started as HR specialist. One of the first projects I was involved in was building a leadership program for our supervisors across whole company in Poland. And we were also supporting those activities in Croatia. So super exciting time, super challenging, because there was around 100 probably supervisors that we were training a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the other project was hiring for the newly opened facility in northern Poland. So that was also challenging and super exciting. And when press announced that they will be open facility in the US and they needed a strong team who would come here and adapt the culture and the values, I thought that that will be a next step for me. And I'm super happy to be here and to be part of this journey here in the US.
Awesome, awesome. You definitely had an incredible path to today. But before we start talking about today in press glass, so you came over in 2019, and then COVID hits,
Hmm.
and that was my really big curiosity. You come from a different country. You're in North Carolina. COVID hits. I gotta. How was it? How did you deal with it? I mean, you're so far from home and you're locked down. Take me through that. That had
Hmm.
to be something else.
Of course, yeah. I think for everybody, like when the COVID hit, it was difficult times. But for us, especially, we wasn't sure if we can stay here, if
Right,
we need to go back to Poland. Of course, everything was locked,
right.
so it was kind of scary. But we moved here in summer 2019, so it
Okay,
was shortly before the COVID hit.
gotcha.
So we were coming here with big professional and personal goals. We wanted to travel, we wanted to visit like everything, soak up the culture. And I think when we moved here, we went through a small cultural shock. Of course, United States, Poland, it's whole like called and considered Western culture, so some
Right.
things are similar. Of course, I watched a lot of shows and movies from the United States, so I kind of like know what to expect. But when you hear and
Yeah.
when you experience it, it's totally different. Like different communication style, different food, different customer service,
Sure, sure.
even the work ethic. So that
Yes.
was different. But I think we quickly adapt. And I love living here, especially North Carolina. It's a slow living. People are so friendly.
Yes.
It I really feel like home right now.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, coming back to COVID, so
Yeah.
um, especially like from the professional point of view, we started construction of this new facility here in the US beginning of 2019. So the end of 2019, we were bringing all the machines,
Hmm.
and the goal was to start installing them.
Right.
But when the COVID hit, like some of technicians couldn't come here from Europe
Correct. Correct.
when most of our machines were. So I remember one example when we were installing autoclave, our IT manager and maintenance manager were using VR goggles
Uh-huh.
to connect with the technician.
Nice.
So
Okay.
they could walk them through every step, how to set up software, how to set up machines. And it worked out.
Yeah.
And it really amazed me how people find a way through the difficult times.
Yeah. No, that's a great one. You know what? I've heard a lot of people try to figure out ways around things, but
Hmm.
the goggles, the VR goggles, that's brilliant. And again, we all figure out how to adapt.
Hmm.
And you did too. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you came in the summer of 2019, and it wasn't the winter, and then all of a sudden you're locked down. So I'm glad you had a few
Oh,
months
yeah.
to get used to it. And North Carolina is awesome. It's one of my favorite places. I've got Karolina Styk with me, Press Glass North America. Find them online at pressglass.us. And so, those of you out there who may not be aware of Press Glass, Karolina, you want to give a little rundown on what you all do?
Yes, of course. So Press Glass is a glass fabricator. We specialize in commercial buildings. We love oversized glass. We like complex, multi-laminated pieces of the glass. We do digital print. So everything that is added value. And we're a project-focused facility. So whenever there is a project 5,000 square feet or 500,000 square feet, we are equipped to do it. And by that, I don't only mean machines, which I think we have highly automated technology here, but also, I mean, people. We have very talented individuals here who can run the project, estimators, project managers, but also people on the floor. So yeah, company originally is from Poland.
Right.
We have 11 production facilities in whole Europe, in Poland, Croatia, Lithuania, and UK, and we have one here in the United States.
Great.
So Press saw an opportunity to become a domestic supplier, but with that European glass fabrication foundation, right?
Hmm.
So in 2017, Press has acquired local business in North Carolina. It was called Glass Dynamics.
Yep.
And then in 2019, we broke ground on this greenfield investment. And it was clear goal. It was to become number one post-tempered glass fabricator in the US, bringing the same high standard we're known for in Europe. So right now we operate solely from Ridgeway.
Okay.
We earlier this year we've consolidated all the production under one roof.
Right.
We have 270,000 square foot facility, um, very automated,
I,
with
I've
some
heard, I've heard,
robots.
I've heard it's incredible. I have never been there, but I've heard from a few people that it's something to see. So one of these days I'll get to see it.
Yeah, the invitation is open, so please feel free to come. So yeah, we are also expanding with another 230,000 square feet.
Wow. Wow. Okay. You're on the move. I love it. I love it. So, this is cool. I got a bunch more questions for you, but I want to break it up because I always do a fun question for you. And for you, I'm curious when you were a young gal in Poland, what did you want to be when you grew up? And as I joked with you on my notes, you can't say you wanted to be a force in the North American glass industry. So
Oh,
what did young Karolina want to be when she grew up?
well, that's a good question. Um, but I wish I had a great childhood, like dream to share, but
Okay.
I really didn't know what I wanted to be when I
Okay.
was a small girl. But right now, I do know one thing for sure, and I think you know that too, that once you're in the glass industry, there's no way out, right?
You got it. Yes, you know that.
Uh,
Once you're in, you don't leave. This is great.
Yes, I love the glass industry. I fell in love. I think glass is great building a material. It's like great balance between technical aspects, but also aesthetics, beautiful things you can create with it, and it also give some good technical performance. And it's also like eco-friendly product. So I
Yeah.
think it's all create some really beautiful and sexy buildings.
You got it, man. You're speaking to me on that one. I love it. And it is true. And I'm glad you picked up on that. Once you get in this industry, you don't leave. So I'm glad we have you and we have you for a long time. You were talking about beautiful and sexy projects. Any that stand out for you particularly? You've sent me a couple over the years to say, hey, maybe this could be a project of the week, and
Mhm.
they really were stunning. And I know they've won awards, but any favorites for you in the press glass portfolio?
Oh yes, I have few. One I like a lot, and we got an award for this building from Guardian is 66 Galen
Yep.
in Massachusetts.
Yep.
So I really like this building because it has like two faces. So one side of facade has big openings, more neutral coating. Other side of the building is like a wave with more reflective coating on it. It has to meet very high requirements for energy efficiency in New England. That's why the makeup includes two low E coatings. One is IS20 from Guardian. What is very specific and really cool about this building, they are very long and narrow laminated piece of digitally printed glass,
Right.
which are installed as fins.
Okay.
So they have both very technical function, but also create a nice aesthetics on the building.
Gotcha.
Um, Another one I really like and I want to bring here
Yeah.
is second tower of M Resort in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So it's not completely completed yet, but we've been recognized by Vitro for this project. And what is really cool that we run this project in the signature program with Vitro. What
Okay.
does it mean? That we had more tight requirements to meet, And also we need to check the color of the coatings that make sure that everything match perfectly on the facade.
Awesome, awesome. And glass build next year, and yeah, it would be 2026. We'll be in Las Vegas, and so we'll get to see that
Hmm.
building complete. And I also like how you politically played it perfect. You gave one to Guardian and one to Vitro. So good on you. You didn't get anybody mad at you on that answer. So smart. You're smart.
Well, they both great partners for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're super for our industry, no doubt. Yeah, I've got Karolina Styk with me, Press Glass North America. See them online at pressglass.us. And some of the things you'll see, Karolina had her fingerprints all over it. And one of the things I found out as I was doing some research on you is you are a licensed drone pilot. Talk to
Mhm.
me how that all came about because that's fascinating. How was it? How's it going? And I assume it's to get some really awesome marketing shots. But licensed drone pilot, how did this all happen for you?
Yeah, sure. So everything is started with my personal hobby. I really love photography.
Okay.
And we get a small drone with my husband and I, and we would take them on a trip. And when I saw that stunning views captured from the above, I knew that it will be a great tool to use in the marketing. That's why I decided to take the commercial license. I studied a lot,
Mhm.
and then I went take a test, pass it. So now I can use it in our work, and it's really cool. It gives us a lot of freedom that we can capture the pictures from the facility during the fabrication, but then also during the installation and completed project. So it's like the whole path through the different stages of the building. And when I first flew the drone in the facility over the furnaces and over
Yeah,
the robots, I'm not gonna lie, that was a little bit like stressful
I can imagine.
because I didn't want to mess up these multi-million machines,
Right,
but
right.
everything turned out great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can imagine the nerves of flying it, and you don't want to fly it into a robot or into the tempering oven or anything like that and cause major problems. But you're a licensed pilot. You're a pro. This is good. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. And I agree with you. The shots that we get now from drones are tremendous on the marketing side. So kudos
Hmm.
to you. So if changing that your hat around a little bit on the HR and recruitment side, because you've
Hmm.
got obviously your hand in that and a major important part of that. I ask it this question a lot. I'm always curious of the different answers from different guests. How, as an industry, do we reach that younger audience? I don't know what your workforce is like, over there
Hmm.
in Ridgeway, North Carolina, Virginia border there. But we need younger folks. How do we go about it? What are you thinking? What should we do better as an industry?
Definitely. It's a great question. And I've have had this conversation and discussion multiple times with different people. And what we have in glass industry, it's such amazing because we creating something. We create like real thing. And this is really cool because we have impact on how our cities looks like. So I think this is the one thing what we can attract a younger generation to see what we do and create that storytelling. And with attracting candidates in general, if they're younger or older, it doesn't matter. I think we should approach it as we do sell our products, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
So
point.
first we need to have a product. We need to have good culture. We need to work on it. We need to create a good job description, title, and I think what is important to ask our employees, like what they like about working for us, and we can use it in promoting our offering.
Hmm.
So the most important thing, we need to let the local community know that we are here
Yeah.
and we are hiring. So this is first and foremost. And when we first came here, we were utilizing many different resources to build our employer brand.
Hmm.
So first we connected with schools, with high schools, colleges, but we also started early. We connected with middle schools,
Wonderful.
and they were organizing like a career days. So we would go and we would just promote the business itself. Hey, these are different opportunities that you can have when you finished your school.
Yeah.
Of course, social media, which is great platform, especially for younger generation.
Yeah.
And um, I think our team is managing that channels very well. We have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, but all of these different platforms mm, are mm, um, are dedicated for different
Yes.
targeted groups.
Yes. Different audiences for sure.
Yeah, different audiences. So so we also show like a backstage of how the work looks like,
Gotcha.
and I think it's very important. So have a good product, have a good culture, talk about your opportunities, let people find you there. And I think also technology innovation is something
Yeah.
that attracts younger generations, so investing in that is very important. It's not only helping with hiring, but also helping with efficiency of the business.
For sure, for sure, and a couple of things from that. One is that any robotics, I think, is something that a younger person looks at and gets excited by, and to control that or move that around, and I think
Hmm.
that's exciting. And I also love what you said about trying to sell the positions like you sell for a job. And I think that's something as an industry sometimes we don't do enough.
Hmm.
We're so hard to sell, that job, that 50,000 square foot project, and we all hustle to get it done. But
Hmm.
do we do the same effort on trying to, fill our roles, and I don't know if we do. And I think that that's pretty interesting. That's a great point by you. And I think that as an industry, we got to get better. We got to keep getting better
Hmm.
on all these things. But great advice. Great advice. I like it. I've got Karolina Styk with me, Press Glass North America. Find them online at pressglass.us. One more question for you, unless I have some fun follow-ups, but I'm really curious. Again, of 2025, 2026, I mean, the market is a little bit bumpy out there right now.
Hmm.
Some people have it better than others, but it's a changing market because of what's going on, politically. How's 2025 going for you guys? What are you looking for 2026? Cautiously optimistic, worried, happy. How you feeling over
Hmm.
there?
Yeah, definitely. Probably you have heard that from many of your guests. Like 2025, even 2024 were a little bit softer,
Hmm.
slower years for us. But they were also stable for us. So our customers has pivoted from like large monumental projects to more governmental funded
Yep.
healthcare and schools, and this is what we saw more in our portfolio. We have had also few national stadiums arena too. Um, but it all gave us opportunity to expand our footprint past the Mississippi River. So our major markets is Northeast,
Yeah.
Mid-Atlantic, Carolinas. But thanks to that, we were able to have some jobs in Texas, in California, Las Vegas, like I mentioned.
Right.
2026, I think we have seen some more monumental jobs starting, so we are pretty optimistic that it's gonna pick up in 2026 and further.
Good. Good to hear. Because I do think there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines, and I do think there's a
Hmm.
lot of projects ready to pop. I just think that people are waiting for some stability, overall stability. I don't know if you're seeing that too, but I just think people, the questions of what's going on with the tariffs and the interest rates and so on, and until those kind of get answered, I just feel like that's what we're waiting for. And then when some of these things get taken care of, we might be rolling again quickly.
Oh yes, definitely. This is what we are hearing from our customers and suppliers as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this has been great. Before we started, you said you were nervous. You crushed this. You were not nervous at all. This was good. I enjoyed getting to know you. I hope, will you sneak to Glassbuild in Orlando this fall? Will we get to see you in Orlando?
I hope so. We are still talking about who is gonna go there, but I'm hoping I could be part of that event.
Well, lay down the law. If not, we're not going to have a drone pilot situation there for you to take advantage of. But hope to see you there. Karolina Styk, Press Glass North America. See them online at Press Glass US. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey glazers and fabricators, FHC, the frameless hardware company, is here to support your business. In addition to offering a complete selection of glazing tools and supplies to get the job done right, we design, engineer, and manufacture a comprehensive offering of frameless shower door systems, heavy glass doors, aluminum entrances and storefronts, architectural railings, transaction and display hardware. Privately owned and American-made, FHC prioritizes you, the customer. You now have a choice. Visit fhc-usa.com.
Okay. Next up on the From the Fabricator podcast, I have Corey Thompson with me, Chief Technology Officer at Pellucere Technologies. You can find them online at pellucere.com, and that's spelled Pellucere.com. Cool little website. Check that out. And Corey, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It's a cool thing for me to get to meet people from different signs of life, different parts of our industry. And he reminded me, I met you in Dallas, and my brain was kind of mushy back then, and so I didn't remember it as well. So I'm thrilled to get to see you again. But the one thing I do not know, other than some of the research I did, was where you were born, where you grew up, went to school, and then how you made it to today. What was your past? So give me a little bit of your journey of Corey Thompson.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Northeast Texas, a little town called Pittsburgh. We're known for the chicken industry of all things.
Gotcha.
Came up to University of Arkansas for undergrad after high school, and in engineering, so studied mechanical engineering. Graduated in 3 years with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, but it happened to be in '08 when the markets had crashed.
Recession,
I
yeah.
was hiring. So, but I'd been lucky enough, I'd been doing some undergrad research with a professor. He had a position on a grant that was open, and he offered for me to hang around for grad school. I'd never even considered grad school, and was like, you know what? That sounds fun. So, ended up hanging around not only for my master's in mechanical engineering, then I did a PhD after that in microelectronics and photonics.
Wow. Okay.
And got a certificate in entrepreneurship through the Walton College of Business at the same time. So wrapped up school in 2013, and just so happened that what I wrote my dissertation about was a water-based anti-reflective coating geared at the solar market.
Yeah.
And got encouraged to write a grant, and lo and behold, it got funded. So started a company called White Glass in 2013, and that kind of launched my career in the glass coatings business. And here I am still doing the same thing 12 years later.
Awesome. And we do have it in common. I was born and grew up in Pittsburgh too, but mine was in Pennsylvania. So, and mine has the H on the end of it. I assume yours
Yep.
doesn't have the H, but very cool to meet another Pittsburgher. So that's cool. Let's talk about Pellucere. That's where you're at now. For those who don't know what you all do, you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of what you all do, and then obviously the focus into the glass industry.
Yeah. So Pellucere specializes in nanoscale enabled coatings for glass and a few other substrates. Essentially, we provide functional coatings to achieve very specific characteristics of the glass surface. So that's reducing reflection, as I mentioned, in solar, or we even do a lot of work with LED lighting, to like we have anti-fog coatings for bathroom mirror applications. And even some photocatalytic self-cleaning coatings that are geared more towards like the outdoor architectural environment. So really our niche is taking a piece of glass and making it better through a wet deposited coating.
Nice. And so you've now, again, you were in the solar side of things, you do so many other things. When you compare your coatings to maybe what's already out there, what kind of makes you stand out? Obviously, I think the anti-fog is a big one, but what else makes you stand out from, what's this industry? People listening to this podcast, may be curious what separates you from the rest.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's two main things that make us different. So first, I learned particularly in the architectural industry that when you say coated glass, everyone has coated glass because we all have low-E glass windows, right?
Right.
What we do is fundamentally different than that. So it's been kind of a learning experience there of, how do we position ourselves in the market and all of those things. And I think the other thing that we achieve with that is where we get integrated into the supply chain is fundamentally different. So with all of these coated glasses in the industry, you're buying jumbo sheets and cutting and fabricating out of that. What Pellucere does that's really interesting is we can enable that coating deposition much further down the supply chain. So I'll give an example of that in the LED lighting world. If you want an anti-reflective coated lens, you are buying really high dollar sputtered glass and then cutting and fabricating out of that. What Pellucere enables is you can do everything up until getting ready to temper the glass, and then you're coating, a small part, and that fundamentally changes the the cost of providing that kind of functionality to the industry.
Huge, huge. Definitely something different for sure and advanced. So I've got Corey Thompson with me, Chief Technology Officer, Pellucere Technologies. See them online at pellucere.com. That's Pellucere.com. And you guys are definitely making some inroads for sure. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that and your feelings on the industry and so on. But I always break up the podcast halfway through or a little bit, somewhere along the way with a fun question. And I'm curious because given your schooling and how active you were and how intense you probably are, I don't know if you're ever not working, but when you're not working, what are some hobbies? What's your favorite hobby or your go-to escape for Corey Thompson?
Yeah, so my Pittsburgh was quite a bit smaller than yours, so I grew up in the outdoors, right?
Gotcha.
Hunting and fishing was a family thing. Then moved to Arkansas, and I mean, it's a great place for those same activities. Especially now with all the hiking, mountain biking stuff that's going on in Northwest Arkansas,
Sure.
it's a great place to be. So yeah, continue to do that. Love to hunt, love to fish, and make it even better. Now I've got kids of my own that I'm taking out and showing those things. So uh,
Nice. Are they getting into it? Or I mean, I don't know how old they are. Are they getting
You
into it?
know, yeah, well, we've got a range of ages, but
Okay.
in their own ways. Yeah,
Good.
some of them like just being outdoors piece of them. I've got a daughter that is actually quite a good fisherman, so
Good. Uh,
just getting outside and being together.
I like it. I like it. And that is a good hobby because just getting outside and getting some fresh air, especially, we do so much of our work now inside and then, post COVID, you don't even get out as much as you used to because at least COVID, you'd go visit people. Now we just do something like this, like a Zoom. So it's got to feel good to get outside, get some fresh air.
Yeah, and I'm an engineer by training, which tells you that I'm not the most extroverted person. So getting fresh air while also being away from people feels real nice.
I love. Hey, I'm a marketing person. I love getting away from people, so that's why I go run. So a little different than you. I'll just put on the headphones and go. Very cool. I like it. I like it. A couple more questions for you. I'm you talked about Watt Glass briefly, and now you're Pellucere. Has anything surprised you as you've gone through? Getting deeper and deeper into the architectural glass industry, like an aha moment, like, this is a little different than I expected.
Ooh, yeah. So yeah, I would say, cut our teeth in the solar market, right? So we're used to there being very in-depth technical specifications for glass and glass coatings. That's true in the architectural environment as well. But what I'll point out that's a little bit surprising to me is for a lot of the things we do, like anti-reflective, self-cleaning, anti-fog coatings, there aren't really well-defined specifications, right? So when the customer is ordering a piece of glass, how do they know what to order? It's a lot different on that side of the market than it is to say, the low E side of the market where, they know exactly what insulation value they need and they know what piece of glass gets
Yeah.
on that. So what we found just as a company is that, there's not these stamp of approval type processes. Shower doors are a good example of this. Hydrophobic coatings have been on shower doors forever,
Mm.
but there's not a single set of tests that shows a customer is one coating actually better than the other. So what we find ourselves doing a lot of times is, working hand in hand with the customers to develop that kind of stuff. And I'll say, we're a very technically driven company, so our skill set fits well with doing that. But it was just surprising that was, going to be part of the sales process for us moving forward.
That, I actually never really thought about it. You're right. I mean, like with glass, I mean, we could say, well, this one has a shading coefficient of X and a solar heat gain of Y. And with a lot of what you do, that there's no comparison or stats or anything. I had never thought of that.
Right. And well, what does anti-fog for a bathroom mirror really mean, right? How
Yeah.
long was the shower? What's the humidity? Do you have air conditioning? Like all of those things play into it.
That is something. It's funny though because we talked about an aha moment. You gave me an aha moment because I've been around this sort of thing and just never thought about that. And I do dig the anti-fog coatings because I do like hot showers and My house is traditionally freezing cold, and so you take the hot shower, and my room looks like a foggy day in New York City sort of thing. So I never get the mirror, so I can't wait to get it on my mirrors for sure. I love it. I love it. So, a couple more questions for Corey Thompson, Chief Technology Officer, Pellucere Technologies, pellucere.com. So, as I was doing some research on you, I saw at the University of Arkansas, you got honored with a Distinguished Alumni Award. Uh, that had to be just like an amazing feel. Take me through or talk to me about. I mean, they call you up and they say, "Hey, we're giving you this award," or were you surprised? I mean, how did that all come together? And my gosh, congratulations. That is a really cool accomplishment, especially for a school as the size of the University of Arkansas. You're not talking like a little tiny, commuter college. This is a monster university. So congrats.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, and I definitely was honored by it. I know that's kind of obvious based on the award, but um, I'll add a little bit more context to it.
Please.
So, when I was going through university, I did the entrepreneurship track, which is, not the most common track to do in nanoscale sciences, but through that grew a whole lot of relationships with the university. When White Glass was launched, we actually started the company in a little incubator facility that the university has. So, those ties to the U of A have been deep and long lived. Um, so, when I got the phone call, it was actually from Professor Dr. Nutter, who didn't remember this at all whenever I brought it up to him, but he was actually the guy who was my freshman advisor
Oh, wow.
in mechanical engineering. So, it felt like things came full circle, right? And kind of grew up in that environment, have stayed connected to the research and development stuff that's happening at the U of A, and then to be recognized with an award for actually, spinning a company out of it and growing it to the size that we are today. Felt really good. And I think it points out, I've been really lucky to hire a bunch of people that are a lot smarter than me. And, through those deep ties to the U of A, I think on our R&D side, we're about 70% graduates of the U of A engineering department.
Gotcha.
And the quality of talent that we've been able to bring out of the U of A, I mean, it rivals any university in North America. So, that engagement with the U of A has continued to pay off, not just through receiving awards, but, it's been good for the company.
That's awesome. Lots of Razorback love there on Saturdays in the fall, I'm sure. I love it.
Love or hate, it depends on the
That's
outcome of
that's
games.
true. There's been some up and downs there. Well, I love it. Congrats again. That's really, really cool. Last, because again, I know you're a busy man. I really appreciate you getting me in. I always have, or not always, most of the time I have somebody from more of the sales and marketing side on. Getting somebody from your side, the technology side, the engineering side. The question I have now is how you're seeing the market, and it is kind of a funky market out there. The tariffs, the rate cuts, and so on and so forth. How you feeling about the rest of 2025 economy, 2026? I mean, I went through 2008, 2009, 2010, like you had mentioned, you in 2008. So I know what that recession looked and felt like. How you feeling about the economy and things going forward? And also for Pellucere, you guys feeling like you're heading in the right direction?
Yeah. So the market as a whole, I think, it's fair to say that there's going to be positives and negatives in it. For the positives, I think we are seeing some momentum, particularly with new technology rollouts that'll help launch things that are truly innovative. But I think it's going to be a really difficult overall kind of macroeconomic environment that's happening in. So, an example of this would be, this time 9 months ago, there were lots of rumblings in particularly North America about solar glass production coming back, some massive increases to float production as well across different sectors. And we've seen a lot of pullback from that here recently. So for Pellucere, obviously that hurts, right? Whenever these industries pull back.
Right.
But I think it's an opportunity for us to really focus on how do we maximize the value that we're providing. Where are the places in the market to where there's still value and it's not commoditized to the point of, well, we can just replace it with an imported product.
Right.
And I think that's going to be what keeps companies afloat, even if there's an overall downward trend to the year.
Good, good. That's it. And you're right. The solar thing I do get a little confused on because it was, really going crazy and with high high, predictions. And then, like you said, a little bit of the pullback and now the incentives going away. But then you still have some people very bullish on it, going forward. So it's an interesting one because, and you mentioned kind of briefly, it does affect the architectural glass industry. So the more solar goes crazy, the bigger effect it has on supply to the architectural side, and you get to play in both, so you get to deal with all of that stuff. But overall, feeling pretty good though, I assume.
Overall, feeling pretty good. I think, when you zoom out and you look at the industry outside of North America, we're continuing to see year over year just growth, whether it's architectural or whether it's solar. And, I think the kind of ups and downs that we're seeing right now are more of, us figuring out the current, political and economic environment, right?
Yeah.
What's it going to look like? And a lot of those long-term growth things that were scheduled for this year, I don't think they're completely off the table. But I think companies are just being a little bit more cautious and, seeing how some of this stuff shakes out first before they make those massive investments.
Yeah, I wish we could use your anti-fog coding on the question of what the heck's going to happen with the tariffs and the rate cuts and clear, because that's the whole thing right now. It's all murky. We just don't have any answers. So that's once we get some clarity, I think things can take off.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the glass industry is a, very CapEx intensive industry. And the kind of folks that invest in those kind of projects, the one thing they don't like is uncertainty.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. Well said. Well said. Corey Thompson, thank you so much for doing this. He's the Chief Technology Officer at Pellucere Technologies. Check them out at pellucere.com. That's PELLUCERE.com. My friend, I hope I see you at Glassbuild again this year. I promise I will recognize you. I will say, hey, you're my old friend. I'll even give out a pig suey, whatever you want on the Razorback side. But thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks, Max.
Thank you. Okay, well, that was another, I think, fun episode. Two great guests. Thank you to Karolina and to Corey. Really appreciate it. Thank you also to FHC for their support of this episode. FHC-USA.com is where you find them. They're continuing to do things differently and being there to support the industry, grow the industry, and lead it forward. FHC committed to standing with their customers. Thank you, folks. TV-wise, as I do every single podcast, the two picks for you this time. One is Manhunt, the O.J. Simpson trial. I know everybody's gone over that trial 50 billion times. I have. I've read so many books about it. But this miniseries on Netflix brought things I didn't know, and especially so much evidence that was not collected. Really, really interesting, really well done. A lot of the players speak in it, so definitely worth watching on Netflix. Manhunt, O.J. Simpson. And then I talked about how much I love that Billy Joel doc, and it was so good. And so that got me into looking for some other things. And I found one on Amazon Prime called Hired Gun. And it's about the backup musicians, including, Billy Joel's band, among many others. How they go, what they do, it's usually the back of the band is completely different than sometimes either the lead singer or whoever the main members of the band are. And these guys, these musicians, really, they do it for the love because a lot of them aren't making any money. When Metallica needed a new bass player, they got this guy. They were paying him, I think, $500 a week to play almost every night on a gig. So really interesting, though, what these guys go through. It's called Hired Gun, and it is on Amazon Prime. All right, that's it for this episode of the From the Fabricator podcast. We'll be back in a few weeks with another one. I have some guests lined up. Cannot wait to share with all of you. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, the music is stopped.